will start with our co-hosts, represented here by their president and CEO, Mr. Rehmat Ali Hasnie. He's been president of NBP since August 2023. He's got almost 3 decades of work experience. He's held senior positions in NBP, including heading its investment banking and priority sector lending. He spearheaded NBP's focus on access to finance initiatives in agriculture finance. This was the strategic alignment of the bank to contributing to Pakistan's goals pertaining to financial inclusion and sustainable growth. So I'd like to request Mr. Rehmat Ali Hasnie to please take the podium and deliver his welcome address.
Honorable Finance Minister Sahab, Governor Sahab from KP, I learned that when we were in Peshawar. It's KP. Senator Musaddiq Malik Sahab, Yusuf Hussain Sahab, various delegates who are here, friends, colleagues, and everyone who's here for the Future Summit. Assalamu alaikum. I think it's important that this dialogue, and I call this a dialogue, happens, and it's timely, for which I think Nutshell has been very active in promoting this dialogue on various relevant broad themes. Course correction is very relevant for us as a country. As we move forward, coming out of an economic situation and a structural adjustment underway, it is very relevant for us, I think, as a country, to understand and deliberate as to what course for the future we are going to take, both in terms of the economic and the social spheres of the country. Obviously, the political and diplomatic areas are, I think, also very relevant, but I think current discussion on where the social and economic areas will go, will move to, is important. And I'm very glad to see both the finance minister as well as Malik Saab from the climate ministry over here also, because those are both very relevant going forward. Well, they have been in the past, but even more gaining relevance given what we are now seeing and Pakistan facing as a climate threat. The strategy for such an area, I think it's important to understand that a course correction is a perpetual action. Evolution of our thought has to happen. Rabia mentioned the famous line, कि पाकिस्तान एक मुश्किल मोड़ से गुजर रहा है. I think मोड़ तो it's a perpetual spin that we have to be part of. वैसे वो नाजुक है या नहीं है, वो हम पे है कि हम कितनी पहले उस मोड़ को देख के अपनी स्पीड को तेज़ कर लें या आहिस्ता कर लें, या उसके अंदर क्रैश करें और वो जो कहा जाता है कि the boom and bust cycle repeats itself. So I think it's about managing speed, managing our direction, and managing the road we travel on, and sticking to it. When I was asked to be the co-host for this, so I have to sort of take the financial sector as an example. As we look at the financial landscape of Pakistan, it is changing. Electronic money institutions are coming in, digital banks are about to come in. And for banks, commercial banks, it's always been a thought that how do we respond to it? And I think the banking sector has shown its ability to react and respond appropriately to the changing environment so that it retains its not just relevance, but but its ability to serve its purpose in terms of wherever needs for credit arise, supporting businesses, supporting development, supporting even the government. But at the same time, there's been a lot of investment, and a lot of investment even at National Bank, in terms of transformation. And that transformation is in 2 or 3 broad areas. One is obviously the automation, the IT infrastructure, but really the emphasis, not just at National Bank, but in the banking sector as a whole, of pushing the cashless agenda, which is also a government agenda itself, is important. Today, the digital transactions of the banking sector as a whole have grown over the past few years exponentially. And for National Bank, that is a triple-digit growth rate in the past 2 or 3 years when we've really embarked on that journey. Most importantly, I think, and it's important, that the digitalization of the government salaries and pensions is a very large agenda which will move from the old way of disbursing salaries to a digital and cashless transaction. Part of that is already done, and it is continuing to evolve and complete. I think collectively, and the digital banking agenda is a course correction in sorts that the banking sector has taken, and we've also done. As we go forward, I think the banking sector will continue to push the cashless agenda and support the government on this, because really it's about data and usage of data to focus our energies on where we should be deploying our funds, who to give money to, as well as how to improve the access to finance for the population. As National Bank, we've done part of it through the microfinance segment to get to the lower income groups by wholesale lending to the microfinance sector. But really, as digital banking evolves, I think banks will also be going into that segment of the population to provide access to the products and services we offer to the low-income segment of the population. Having said that, I think the most important part in all of this is going to be the conversation of how well banks are prepared to handle the demands for credit as the economy presently moves from a structural adjustment phase to a growth phase. In that respect, I think the banks and ourselves, we're all quite well positioned to be able to finance that growth. However, I think the challenge that we've faced in the past, we're over that hump of high interest rates, high inflation. So as business groups' demand for credit rises for both working capital as well as expansion, I think we will be ready to handle that, and I think so will my colleagues in the banking system. But where that growth and demand comes from will determine how Pakistan grows, because industry or the knowledge economy will determine how Pakistan's course is set, not banking sector specifically. My suggestion in that respect is on a deliberation and a discussion now and going forward on how climate finance is to be handled, is to be taken up, how the country moves towards repositioning itself from the traditional manufacturing sector to what is demanded in the international market, how to expand our export base, and also to look at the knowledge economy and how to both use it and export our capacity. I think part of it has already started with mining and minerals and that area, as well as agriculture. And to a large extent, I think we are now poised with a lot of the data center and processing capacity to be able to locally be able to handle the processing and AI needs of the country. We all stand, as banks, we stand behind that initiative. And I'm hoping that, if not, obviously not conclusively, but as a conversation, all the various topics that are being discussed today are, the conversation moves forward towards some kind of a game plan in this area. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the summit. Thank you.